behind that? Can somebody get on it? It's a YouTube problem, apparently. It's YouTube's fault. So, yeah. Hang on. Now we're live. Okay. I can only sit here and talk, everybody. I can't do it. We're live. We're good. We're good. Here from the Golden Ticket. Year 6, starting out in fine style. Listen, we got all week to get to the permutations, the analytics. I talked about it in my commentary today. I'm not making a prediction yet, but I will tell you that I am cheering for the Florida Panthers. And for those that have been writing into our Facebook and my social media and saying, what kind of Canadian are you? You need to stop it right now. Because for all the people that aren't cheering for the Edmonton Oilers doesn't make you anti-Canadian. I can't see Flames fans cheering for them. Darn sure can't see Canucks fans cheering for them. So stop it. And I'll tell you what, I'm cheering for the Florida Panthers for a myriad of reasons that I don't need to get into today. But chief among them, my dear Panthers friends, Bill Lindsay and Randy Moeller, the broadcasters, the color commentators. I want a Stanley Cup ring for them. They've been there pretty much day one guys, okay, for Florida. For 30 years, they've been through a lot of heartache. For them, I want them to win. I also host a Panthers podcast and Lightning as well. Would make things go a lot easier. So for me, it's Florida. Darren, do you have a – we're not going to get to predictions today, but do you have a rooting interest today in this series?
I think it's going to be Edmonton. I think that's where my heart pulls me. But it pulls me to people. I want to see Paul Maurice win a Stanley Cup because I just like the man that he is and the way he conducts himself. But I also, when I think about that, the Stanley Cup commercials, I can see Paul Maurice and the things he says being a part of those Stanley Cup commercials and finally lifting the cup. And I can see McDavid being a part of those. So I really pull for McDavid, but I also pull for Maurice. I think at the end, I get tugged towards McDavid a little bit more. So probably Edmonton for me.
Hey, cheer for whoever the hell you want. It's a free country. I'm going to say it again. If people are going to get triggered, which some are, writing into our social media by who I cheer for, you got to check yourself. You got to really look in the mirror. Okay? John Ohm says, I'm perplexed. I want a Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup, but I want Paul Maurice to win too. Well, the way you would look at that, John, is you're happy either way. Northside writes in and says, what kind of Canadian is this guy? Again, you need to stop it. And I'm also, by the way, as we get ready to move on, a permanent resident of the United States of America. And by the way, it's none of your business, any of that, or who I cheer for. It's literally sitting and questioning somebody's passport or get a friggin' life. Bomber Boy writes in and says, Jets fans are not cheering for the Edmonton Oilers. Oh, well, you're anti-Canadian. It didn't take long, Darren. I had not even fallen asleep last night, and I was getting that message from people. So don't put me in a bad mood. Ron Duguay, by the way, who a must-follow on Twitter. I love the way he tweets. He has his own distinct style. He was like, Panthers in 6, possibly 5. And then he goes on to list all the reasons why. We haven't even gone back and talked about them knocking out the New York Rangers Saturday night. We don't have time because we're all looking ahead. But I'll say this, Paul Maurice outcoached Peter Laviolette. It should have at least gone 7, and the Rangers should have probably have won. Shesterkin had a better statistical series than Bob. Don't even get me going. 2 power play goals last night for the Oilers, won them the game in a 2-1 game. So don't talk to me about analytics. Don't talk to me about 5-on-5. We've gone about this enough. Travis writes in and says, I look at it this way. Whoever wins deserves it. Now there's that, too. I hope you're entertained, everybody, today, because that's what we're here for. Darren, you're going to get a bang out of this. Point 2, Josh Bloom scored with 22 seconds left in the third period to snap a 3-3 tie, and the host Saginaw Spirit upset the OHL Ontario Hockey League champion London Knights 4-3 Sunday to win the 2024 Memorial Cup in Saginaw, Michigan. The Knights erased a 3-0 deficit in the third period, and then Josh Bloom scored with 22 seconds to go to snap London's comeback and their cup hopes. So listen, Darren, the biggest challenge in my life right now from God is this. Bite your lip, Rod. Bite your lip, bite your lip, bite your lip, bite it! Last night I was at the Meet the Millers event. Come on down and meet the Moose Jaw Millers baseball team. I'm their broadcaster. That's why I'm here at Moose Jaw. As you can see, I'm having a blast. So the ball teams, hey, we walked into the Crush Can nightclub. We've been there together, have we not, you and I? I walked in there with Joe, and I was like, I haven't been in a nightclub in a long time. And Joe's like, oh, I'm sorry. I said, no, it's fine. That smell, I know it. Trouble. So we had our Caesar and ribs, and we hung out with the Moose Jaw Miller baseball players. And there was a muckety-muck business guy from Moose Jaw. You have to understand, everybody across North America, Moose Jaw Sask, breadbasket of the junior hockey world, right? They know their stuff. So I'm sitting there, biting my lip, not saying a damn word. And this guy was going on and on and on about how he doesn't like the Memorial Cup format, and it's a joke that the host would win or even have a chance to win, keeping in mind their Warriors lost out to the host Spirit in a semifinal Friday. Right, Darren? Right? He's going on and on and on about how bad this format is. So probably about 10 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I can't. They've had this format for 50 years. Nobody's been able to come up with a better format than this. If you can come up with a better format, then tell me about it. Otherwise, this is what it is. And the Saginaw Spirit deserves to win the Memorial Cup just as much as the other three teams that were there. Stop it. I can't. I just couldn't. I tried. For 10 minutes, I tried. Do you get it, Darren? What do you think about the format of the member and another host team winning?
Eventually, you just can't sit back and listen when you know and you have something to contribute. I get it. It's really difficult. You know, it happened at the golf tournament, different story. But, yeah, I mean, the only thing I would like to see at the tournament is it's long. It's long. And I know it's tough because you're trying to find competitive balance, and they just played long playoffs to get there. I would like to see it condensed, two games a day, which means you're going to see a lot more back-to-backs instead of just the one back-to-back for each team during the round robin. That's the only thing I would change. You have to have a host team there. Otherwise, you're not going to sell tickets. And you can't have a highest seed host because you need more than a week or a month to plan a Memorial Cup, to have sponsors and have activations and festivals and all the rest that goes with it. No, you need more than that. It's a tournament. That's why it's separate from the league championships.
Sure. And by the way, later on, as we are assembling for a team photo of the Moose Jaw Millers baseball team, minor league baseball team, that same guy came back and he's like, I got it. I got the format. Each team plays each other 2 times. I'm like, yo, guy, we're getting a pick here. And number one, don't tell me. Call the CHL if you want to, but I literally don't care. And I talked to the commissioner, former commissioner of the Dub about this, Ron Robinson, your 2-game-a-day idea, which I fully endorse too. And he goes, hey, we talked about it, decided to keep it the way that it is. Okay, well, if you talked about it, fine. All I can do is give my opinion. We love the Memorial Cup. We're going to watch no matter what, and I don't bitch about the format. By the way, the Moose Jaw Miller. Well, here's the other thing. I did bite my lip in this instance. I had a guy come up to me in church, not joking, you know this, waved his finger in my face. He was a Rough Rider Hall of Famer, and he says, you should be in Florida. You should be in Florida with the Panthers. And I just bit my lip, Darren, because what I thought was, I've committed to the Moose Jaw Millers. They've committed to me, so I'm committing to them. And again, as it turns out, I think I'm going to be able to get up to games in Edmonton. So how about you just worry about yourself? But in this case, I did not snap on the guy. So you can be happy about that. Or anybody. I know you don't really care. Darren has a wonderful RBC Canadian Open story that we'll get to after the break. But the news coming out of it is Robert McIntyre, with father Dougie at his side as his caddy, held on to win the RBC Canadian Open on Sunday for his first PGA Tour title. 4 strokes ahead, entering the final round at Hamilton Golf and Country Club. McIntyre shot at 268 to beat playing partner Ben Griffin by a stroke. So those are some of the top stories coming out of the weekend. We got a hell of a lot more. We got news, big news, coming out of the Canadian Football League. A couple of items. We got Blue Jays. We got WCBL, CEBL, a lot of stuff We'll be right back. We're halfway through the warm-up, broadcasting live from the Golden Ticket Athletic Club in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, here on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
We're back at it. And by the way, everybody, here is your daily reminder to reward your love for movies. Sign up for Landmark Extras like Moose and I both did and get more of what you want, like free movies, free concession items, invites to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. All you got to do is go to landmarkcinemas.com for details, and you sign up for free by choosing one of 3 programs that fits your life the best. Please bring the Moose back in before we move on to the other topics. Our poll question today is simply this: who will win the Stanley Cup? And 60% of respondents are saying the Edmonton Oilers. I think a lot of people do cloud their fandom versus that, but there's a lot of people in Canada and our viewers that don't like the Edmonton Oilers, so maybe they actually think the Oilers will win. But we got all week to talk about this series, so I'm not sitting here making a prediction today. I'm not even going to tell you who I voted for. But Moose is cheering for the Oilers, which I get, and I'm cheering for the Florida Panthers. We've got that out of the way. Baseball, as we continue our Quick Six show topics, righty Kevin Gausman will be looking for his 5th win of the season when the Toronto Blue Jays open a 4-game series tonight against the visiting Baltimore Orioles. The Jays won 2 of 3 weekend games against the visiting Pittsburgh Pirates. Western Canadian Baseball League on Sunday. Here in Moose Jaw, the Millers lost 10-6 to the Weyburn Beavers. The Regina Red Sox beat Swift Current 10-9. Lethbridge over the Saskatoon Berries 3-1, and the Berries are here tomorrow night. Fort McMurray at Medicine Hat. Fort Mac won 16-5. Brooks over Edmonton 15-3. And Okotoks over Sylvan Lake 10-7. Before I get to a whole bunch of football news, do you have anything on the baseball or the Blue Jays since you're sitting there in Toronto? Anything you'd like to get off your chest? Actually, no. You should tell your Jim Nantz story. That's what you should do before we move into the football. Because Darren met, is he your idol, Jim Nantz? CBS television, PGA announcer, voice of the Super Bowl? Is he your idol?
He's definitely up there as one of them, and it's a very select group, and he's maybe the leader of that group. Yeah, somebody I have an immense amount of respect for and all the rest. And, you know, it was funny going around. Leanne's working the tournament. I don't have a lot of asks, and I don't have a lot of, you know, things that I just mind my own business, and I go watch the tournament. But they know what I do for a living and where I'm at kind of in my career and all the rest. And Jim Nantz was there with CBS covering the Canadian Open. And so they knew he was going to be around. They were finding out what time I was going to be on site. And little did I know that they were working behind the scenes to create an opportunity for me to meet Jim. And so I give a lot of thanks to Leanne for kind of making them aware, but to Ryan Paul and to Brian Newton at Golf Canada, who knew what I do and made it happen. So got to see him, a little private 10-minute encounter just before he went on the air, right by the broadcast trailer at the Green of 18 up on the scaffolding. And he couldn't have been more gracious, more kind with his time. The way he is on television is the way he is in person. You know, he comes out of the trailer. So I hear you're a broadcaster. You know, tell me what you're doing. Tell me where you've been. What have you been up to? Have you been down to the States yet? And I'm asking, you know, and I didn't want the meeting for that. I wanted to say hi and get a photo because I'm horrible at that. I have photos with nobody throughout my career, you know, something I'm trying to be better at. But he wanted to know about me and gave me some tips and things to do and wants to stay in touch of all things. It was a really impactful day yesterday meeting Jim Nantz for sure.
Did you give the boys a photo of it? Do we have it? Can we show it to our audience? Jim Nantz, the former voice of the Masters, right until this year, the guy that says, "Hello, friends."
Yeah,
right.
It's up on my social. If the boys want to pull it off of Twitter, they can pull it up off Twitter quick, and we can show it before we end the segment.
Doesn't surprise me that he's a great guy. I'll tell you this: the jerks don't last long. That's been my experience. No. The jerks don't last long in this business, and it speaks to
everybody's great longevity.
There. Jim Nantz.
Ian Baker Finch, got to meet him as he came into the trailer, and yeah, it was just everybody's good people.
So we've covered this: Oilers, Panthers, and the Stanley Cup Final, the Memorial Cup format. If anybody wants to chime in on that, literally, if you can come up with a better format, the CHL's all ears. Nobody's been able to in 50 years. Canadian Open we covered, Blue Jays and baseball. So we got a couple of the really big news out of the Canadian Football League, and we have a ton of CFL fan viewers tuned in daily here on Game Plus. Actually, before we stop, we should stop before we continue on that. Clark's got the photo. Here's Moose and Jim Nantz. There you go. Hello, friends. As genuine and gracious as you would expect, a wonderful Sunday at the RBC Canadian Open. About as tall as I thought. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Moose and Jim Nantz.
You guys would see eye to eye. Me and Jim did not.
He's a tall guy, huh? I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you had such a great time. It's all part of the magic, Darren. It's all part of the magic. And so we move on. Grey Cup halftime act announced today. 20 million albums, 26 Billboard Hot 100 hits, 3 consecutive #1 debuts on the Billboard 200, and 2 Grammy nominations. The Jonas Brothers are headed to Canada's biggest game, headlining the Grey Cup halftime show at the 111th Grey Cup at BC Place in Vancouver on Sunday, November 17th. You heard it right. Jonas Brothers playing the halftime show at Grey Cup in November. So, I mean, that could be a poll question, but it came in late. It was just announced this morning. How are we on this? Big name. I can tell you on my mother's grave, I couldn't name one of their songs, but you know what? They're not going after 51-year-old white guys. So I get it. It is what it is, right? Bravo, CFL, not my choice. I'm not a Jonas Brothers fan, but I can appreciate that a lot of people are. So how do you feel about the announcement today that Jonas Brothers for Grey Cup halftime?
I love it. It's not like there's others I wouldn't have taken ahead of the Jonas Brothers, but what they're doing in BC and the Grey Cup committee and everything, I give them full marks here because when's the last time we had a Grey Cup halftime act announced before the season started? That's pretty rare, I think. You know,
never.
We're sitting here usually at Labor Day being like, where's the announcement? Where's the halftime? Where's the halftime? This is June 3rd, and we got a Grey Cup halftime act. The other side of it is realizing where the league falls in the professional North American sports landscape, but also going A-list. I would consider them, I mean, maybe not top of mind today, but in the same realm as 50 Cent. You know, 50 is an A-lister who's maybe not at the top of the game right now, but he still has all that cachet. The Jonas Brothers have all that Hollywood A-list cachet from music and then movies. So they bring a little bit of, as you say, the chutzpah to Grey Cup. So forget about it if they don't have new songs, but they have a new album and a tour and stuff coming. I think it's great.
So a little further on that. Last year was Green Day, who I am a fan of, who isn't. And then you mentioned 50 Cent's going to play the home opener for the BC Lions, and 45,000 tickets are sold. So again, who the hell am I? Some guy wrote in multiple times, multiple people, what kind of Canadian are you? Right? Because I'm going to cheer for the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup. I'm the guy that thinks the halftime act at Grey Cup should be Canadian. Oops, silly me. Jonas Brothers are from New Jersey. Shut up, Rod. They don't have to be Canadian. What? You see where I'm going? Like,
you walk down this path, whack. Walk down this, whack.
Literally, whatever, dude. Whatever, you do you. I have had a lot of Canadian acts come up to me and say, Rod, thank you for waving our flag. Thank you for promoting us for halftime at Grey Cup. And nobody cares, of my opinion. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, that's an early Grey Cup halftime announcement. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says they need George Strait for guys like us, Rod. Haha, maybe next year. Randy in Winnipeg says, guess I'll be switching the channel at halftime. I mean, you're going to have to put up with pro and con, man. You got to put up with both with announcements like this. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says Shania Twain was the earliest at 100 days prior to the Grey Cup. This is the earliest ever at 167 days before the game. Like, I literally look around and say, is there nobody Canadian good enough? And by the way, I've been in very heated conversations with CFL marketing people over this. And they're like, Rod, you just don't get it. We want to be big time. You know, this is back. I guess the weekend isn't big time. He's only good enough for the Super Bowl, but not. John says Justin Bieber's Canadian. Is he still a thing? Hey, Google it, John. John Schmeiser in Kansas City says whack-a-mole on Rod today. Whack, whack, whack. You have to cheer for a Canadian team, but we don't have a Canadian act for halftime. How dare you say that? So that's the announcement. Bravo, good. I'm hoping to be a Grey Cup. I'm not sure. I think that's the plan, that we will be there. And, yeah, I'm not anti-American, obviously, I've been at those acts at Grey Cup with Lenny Kravitz and Black Eyed Peas. Whatever, dude, this is not a hill that I'm willing to die on. Now, moving on, it is week 1 in the Canadian Football League, and let's skip ahead just quickly to Saturday because we have a large amount of Edmonton viewers, and Saskatchewan obviously a ton. I think it's official now. The CFL has moved the start time from Commonwealth Stadium, 5 p.m. Saturday, Saskatchewan Roughriders at Edmonton Elks, to 2 p.m. to therefore avoid Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. That suits me fine, too, because I'm pretty sure we got a baseball game Saturday night here for the Millers. So week 1, Thursday, Montreal at Winnipeg, Grey Cup rematch. We're not doing our picks today, Moose. Friday, night football, Hamilton at Calgary. Bo Levi Mitchell's return. Have we heard a lot of hype about that? I have not, but that's probably a me problem. Bo Levi returns to Calgary Friday night. The world should be coming off the hinges in Calgary. I'm not sure that it is. Sask at Edmonton Saturday, as we mentioned. And then the Braley Bowl on Sunday, BC at Toronto. If you don't know the significance of that term, Braley Bowl, then you never will get it. So, hey, bravo to the CFL. That was a great move of changing the start time. Probably not that hard to do, I wouldn't think, for them, is it? I don't know. I've never organized an event like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some that go into it. You know, obviously, people have schedules. It's a weekend. You make plans, all the rest. But they're doing it well in advance. Like, we're talking about it's Monday here. They're announcing it today. You know, they got all the way till Saturday. I think, you know what? You accept you're going to inconvenience people, but we're giving you 6 days of notice. So, or 5, whatever it is, 5, 6 days of notice. You're fine.
Yeah.
Great move. Great move to understand the city and what's going on.
Yeah, bravo, CFL, Edmonton Elks. I did make a couple phone calls this morning just to get the vibe. A guy that would intimately know Sask and Edmonton, the Riders and Elks, but doesn't work for either team. You got to love those guys. He literally knows both teams real well, but doesn't care who wins. Perfect. Then you don't get the biased intel. And he told me who's going to win. He told me that because, I suck at predictions. So, yeah, a little later on, we'll do the picks. John in Edmonton, I like this. He goes, now there will be less Saskatchewan Roughriders fans in Edmonton. Thank you, CFL. I think he's serious about that. I think he's happy. I have no idea why he would think there would be less Rider fans at the game in Edmonton, but he's thanking the CFL for that. Okay, you do you. Allie in Texarkana writes in, Texas. She says, hey, RP and squad, can't stick around. I got work training today. Congrats to the Oiler fans. Horrible ending for my Stars. I don't know what happened, but those last 3 games, that wasn't my team. Stars blew a 2-1 series lead. New York Rangers blew a 2-1 series lead. We're going to talk about that all with Alan May next. Moose, I'll see you in hour 2.
You bet. See you then.
We're broadcasting live from the Golden Ticket Athletic Club, and we'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience in the the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
And last night, my buddy Vaughn, he texted me and he said, how many blizzards have you had now that you're away from Serena? Just one. But then I got it in my mind, now I want a blizzard. So I said to my guy, Joe, you know Joe 747 Gunnis, our CEO, I said, you want to go get a blizzard in the intermission? He's like, yes, I do. So that's all it took. Now I got 2 blizzards I've had, and it was peanut butter cookie dough, by the way.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. Very special day on the RP Show. That's a 2-gonger. It's our 5-year birthday today. Start spreading the news. The 6th season starts today with episode number 1,257. I am at the Golden Ticket Athletic Club in beautiful Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Moose is in the Toronto studio. Let's bring him in now if we can. And Moose, this is what I love about this program is Hour 2. The old days when we used to listen to sports talk radio, the hosts, or even open line news talk, when they went open phones now, because you knew it was going to be a Stage 5 gong show from there on in, man. You never knew what was going to be people were going to call in with. And that's what we do here with Hour 2. We've covered, for those that have just tuned in, an Oilers-Panthers Stanley Cup final. We're going to have fun with that for the next 2 weeks. I hope. I'm trying. Some people are getting bent out of shape already. 2, the Memorial Cup final, and we've got comments on that from the viewers here. Saginaw, the host team, posted a last-second victory over the London Knights, 4-3 in Saginaw to win the Mirror. What was the guy's name on the RBC? Gord McIntyre? Doug McIntyre.
Robert.
Canadian Open.
Rob, yeah.
Robert McIntyre. Not a golf guy.
Hey, it's his first time. We'd never heard of him until he came to the final round of the Canadian Open.
Okay, thanks for bailing me out. The highlight of Sunday was Darren meeting Jim Nantz. We covered that all last week, and there are photos to prove it. WCBL, we talked about the weekend results there, which I have a few more stories on that because that's always fun. And we've got breaking news out of the Canadian Football League. Jonas Brothers will be the halftime show at the Grey Cup this year in Vancouver, the 111th Grey Cup in Vancouver. We'll have more fun with that. I would say we had a lot of fun with it last hour. I'm not the old man yells at clouds guy enough to say that I don't like this halftime act. I couldn't name one of their songs, but that's not to say I'm in the right. Way to go, CFL, and getting it out in a record time prior to kickoffs, the earliest it's ever been announced. And then with week 1 kicking off this week, the game Saturday at Commonwealth Stadium at Edmonton, Saskatchewan at Edmonton has been moved from 5 p.m. local to 2 p.m. local so as to avoid game 1 of the Stanley Cup. And by the way, do not, Darren, discount this, okay? And anybody on our crew, that today is our 5-year anniversary. Because I was going back looking at all photos in my phone. You say nobody takes more photos than me. I think you've been around me long enough to realize why I do that. I'm trying to find Commonwealth Stadium photos, and there's a photo of you and me and Victor Cui, the president of the Elks, at that home opener in Edmonton. How long did he last? 5 minutes? So to hit our 5-year birthday today is not a small thing in this volatile business of sports media. So I wanted to point that out. What do you think? Deal or no deal?
Yeah, I remember that photo and that day very, very well. You know, as we were driving up to the stadium, Mike Richards was echoing in my head. Some time with the commissioner there, the folks at the Elks. I still have, actually in the next room, I still have the little media pass. And on the back, they wrote me a little special note, if you remember that. We had a great time at the Elks game in the Alumni and everywhere else. But you're right. It really puts it into perspective. You know, 5 years. I grew up in an era and you two were our parents and family. 35 years, you get 25 years, 40 years, 45 years at one place. Very common longevity, something to be celebrated. 5 years is longevity in today's world. It really is. It means a lot because change is so fast.
It's like 25 years back in the day. So it's dog years now. So anyways, I'm looking at the comments here. Everybody, you're welcome to come on in with whatever you'd like to talk about. It's just so darn much fun doing this. Before I do theirs, can I tell a quick story, like the viewer comments here? I told you that I have a new favorite. There's always a favorite on any team. And for me, my favorite's Mike Johnson on TSN. And with the Moose Jaw Millers, it's this guy, Bobby Biceps. Bobby Biceps Picorni. A slugger who knocked home the winning run in extra innings Saturday night. This is the team for which I broadcast. Baseball, everybody. So I was like, last night we had the Meet the Millers night. Darren, he's got long hair. His nickname's Bobby Biceps, so what do you think he's built like? And he's from Margate, Florida, which is the neighboring community from Boca Raton. Like, we're literally neighbors. So we go to Meet the Millers last night at the Crush Can nightclub. I told you how that all started. I was like, I remember this smell. I'll guarantee this night isn't going to end up like they used to. Bobby's not there. And I'm sitting with some of the staff, some of the young girls that work for the team. It's minor league, obviously summertime baseball, man. It's so awesome. Like, for instance, yesterday's game, one of the players was late lining up for the anthem because he was giving his girlfriend a kiss in the stand. I'm like, I'm here for this. All of it. You know what I mean? It's so great. But I said to the young kids that I was sitting beside that work for the Millers, I'm like, where's Bobby? I'm only here for Bobby. I'd never met him before. And they said he's fashionably late. He's that guy. He's the Ron Duguay of minor league baseball. You know what I'm saying? So he shows up, and the production team that did the game Saturday night, within 5 minutes, it's, again, 2024, right? Within less than 5 minutes at the end of the game, my call was cut, post to social media. I'm like, Bobby Biceps knocks on walks to the winning run. Blah, 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 blah. So when he did come in, he was like, loved your call, man. Loved your call. He's just so cool, right? And I'm like, I could pick you out because you were the only... Huh? What?
No, go ahead.
See it?
Well, it's all I can see is that movie, the summer baseball movie, Freddie Prinze Jr., Jessica Biel, such a great show from back in the day. Yeah, summer baseball.
Yeah, and I was like, I could tell you're the only guy here from Florida because you're the only guy wearing white shorts. And he was like, he didn't even notice. It's just a thing, right? Just the way he pounded he's got the long hair parted down the middle. Bobby Biceps. Loved your call, right? And now we're going to hook up when we get back to Florida, man. Can you tell how much fun I'm having broadcasting baseball? The only problem is, well, number one, I never called baseball before. These guys that have been calling baseball for years, Darren, have been stealing money. I'm sitting there, like, checking my pulse to make sure I still have one. Like, things don't get real exciting, in a baseball game until the end of the game. You hope. Right? And then, two, people are starting to come up and crowd the front of the press box to listen. And, I'm a little self-conscious when it comes to that. Number one, I don't want anybody listening to me live there. Number two, all those incidents I got in calling games over the years where fans told me that you're too loud, you're too this. I'm like, I don't want this to happen all over again. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, regarding the final of the Memorial Cup Sunday night, and go back and watch last hour where I talked about getting in a discussion, not an argument, a discussion about the format of the Memorial Cup, because it comes up every year, especially when a host team wins the Memorial Cup, that the format's wrong or the host team shouldn't win. And I said to the guy that said that last night, I said, if you can come up with a better format, submit it to the CHL, because nobody's been able to come up with a better format in 50 years. So host Saginaw got up 3-0 on London, the favored team. Paul in Humboldt writes in and he says, we watched the Memorial Cup final Sunday. My wife says the rink staff will have to go repaint the visitors' dressing room after Dale Hunter's second intermission speech. They made a game of it in the third. Yeah, they came back and tied it 3-3, but lost to the host team with 22 seconds to go. And the junior hockey season is over. What do we got here? Jim writes in, he says, congratulations, those 5 years went fast, especially when you're having fun. Go Panthers and Riders. Arlen Bruce III writes in, he says, congratulations, RP, on taking the Florida Panthers to the Stanley Cup. Well deserved, bro. Your show is lit, family. That's from Arlen Bruce III. I will just say this, by the way. When I did start covering the Florida Panthers 3 seasons ago, Joel Quenneville was the coach. The rink was empty. So I've had a front row seat for the rise, watching from the outside. And I've said from day one, because you were there, Darren, it's the culture of the team. It's the culture. And Paul Maurice, by God, he's a genius. But he has said, he goes, I'm not responsible for any of this. This was it. This was the way it was before I got here. I just didn't screw it up. And let's be honest, he's added to it. And here they are in the Stanley Cup. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in. He says, the WCBL has a real Shoresy Letterkenny vibe to it, doesn't it? It absolutely does. That was a scene from Shoresy last night in the nightclub. Loved your call, Rod. You're my guy. Bobby Biceps. God, you couldn't, if you put this in a show, you wouldn't believe it. Nobody would believe it. Oh, you got a picture? Clark's got a picture. Let's throw it up here. Hayes from Margate, Florida. There you look. Nickname Bobby Biceps. Follow him on Twitter at 4Bobby, of course. And his Instagram is at Bobby Poke. Because, of course, it is. Do you have a photo from my Instagram by chance? Because there's a photo on there at Rod Pedersen. There, he's flexing. Dude, literally Shoresy. Yeah. From Cubish writes in, it says 100%. Bill Zito and Vinny doing great work. Oh, the Panthers fans have showed up today. He's talking about Vincent Viola, the owner of the Panthers. And quite frankly, I hope that these stories come out over the Stanley Cup final, the really good stories. Ryan O'Radio chiming in from Atlanta. He runs 99.1 FM WQEE, which we're on the air every day. Happy anniversary, RP show. And it's 11:11 Mountain, 1:11 Eastern. I'm going squirrel for a second, so. I do, Darren, again, Darren's been around me now, going into season 6. Consciously keep my distance from the teams. And going to the Meet the Millers night last night was just for fun, and I had a great time, and I'm glad to meet the team for which I broadcast. But I'm not the broadcaster for the Florida Panthers, and don't ever plan to be. I'm not trying to be buddy-buddy with the players. Like, I watch the Panthers give me their video after the news conferences after every game and morning skates, and I'm sitting there watching the questions going, our list, the reporter's like, hey, Barkey, you were scored 2 5-on-5. Hey, Rhino, I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. And I don't think you see that with the Oilers media or Canadian media. I don't want to be that. Do you know what I mean? That's not a Canadian thing, is it? Not that you sit in a lot of news conferences, but you do watch the clip.
Yeah, not really. I mean, you absolutely build a relationship. And if you're a good reporter, you'll build a bit of a friendship at times if you're covering the team that closely. But yeah, there's a difference because you're not in the locker room. So the locker room, relationships, slang, all the rest, there's a barrier there between media and player in that situation. But yeah.
And that's the point, is I'm trying to keep that barrier as the media. Again, I get it. If the Panthers broadcasters or the Oilers broadcasters or whatever want to use nicknames, hey, Dry, hey, whatever they call McDavid, I get that. But with the rest of the media, no. I have a problem with that. But the cool stories, the guy mentioned Vinny and what he's done, the owner of the Panthers. When I am walking to a Marin Bank Arena, if I have friends with me that have never been there, I point out the helicopter pad beside the rink. I'm like, this is where Vinny Viola comes in on and lands his. And by the way, to say helicopter, it's not a Magnum PI little black one with the red and yellow stripe on it. It's like a spaceship. And I don't know if he comes all the way from New York or if he comes from his place in South Florida. I don't know, but I'm like, he comes in. We park our cars there. He parks his helicopter there. Nah, it's not that that's really out of line. Jerry Jones does the exact same thing with the Dallas Cowboys, but it is literally just a different world. And you don't see a lot of coverage, though, on the owners, do you? Which, to be honest, I think the owners wish that there would be. I mean, I've had a tour of Rogers Place in Edmonton. Daryl Cates has a bunker. He has got an enclosed bunker up there. I've been in it because it was part of the tour that we had. Would you like to know the cool stories about the owners, or do you think they should be seen and not heard from?
I mean, to me, it's about the players, the managers, the coaches, that type of thing. I'm a business. I have a passion for business on that side, so I am interested in the owners. But I say that from where I'm sitting, not from a casual fan. I think most fans don't really care about the owners. Yeah, no, they don't, but they should. Because without the owners, we'd have no sports.
Right. Nelson, VP of Sim Events, says, that's how you know the saying, we're all in the same boat, was never real. We park our cars, he parks his helicopter. Well, what do you say? We're all in the same, this is a Darren thing. We're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. I was listening to you, Darren. We're over here in our little dinghy, and Darren Drager's up there in his cruise ship. We're all in the same storm, just not in the same boat. Yeah, we're all doing the same thing. John Ohm says, I love owner stories. Well, dude, I have a million. Because I've been around all those guys. From Cubish, he says it starts at the top. That's the exact thing. But, you know, I said that we got a break here right away, but I said I want a Stanley Cup ring for my two guys, Bill Lindsay, the radio color guy for the Panthers, and Randy Moeller, the TV color guy for the Panthers. Above all of them, I want a ring for all of them, but especially those two guys because they've been around for so long. And they told me what happened with Viola, the owner. It was 4 or 5 years ago. He sat down and he goes, I'm tired of this rink being empty. I'm tired of missing the playoffs. And I don't know who specifically he sat down, but I think Randy Moeller was one of them and some of his other key guys and said, what do I need to do? And they said, spend money on players. It's that simple. And that's why you're seeing $8 million for Tkachuk, $8 million for Barkov, $10 million for Bob. Right? You got to spend. You got to spend money to make money, and the Arizona guy never ever did figure that out. And Vinny finally just said, I'm done losing. What do we need to do? And you got to respect that, don't you? We got to take a time out. Yeah. We'll be right back. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Esteban and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America. In the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Hey, everybody, we are broadcasting live, as always, now for the next foreseeable future from the Golden Ticket Athletic Club in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. It's just awesome, isn't it? I love it. I'm not interested in leaving. Moose is in Toronto. Let's bring him in here. I want to remind you that I don't have the liner in front of me. It's my bad, but the Canadian Elite Basketball League's 2024 season is underway. We are partners with the CEBL and the Saskatchewan Rattlers. Get your Rattlers tickets from their website or Ticketmaster, and we'll see you at SaskTel Center this summer as they go after their second championship, the Saskatchewan Rattlers. No games in the CEBL tonight. As a matter of fact, pretty light night in sports. Baseball, Blue Jays home to Baltimore, and only one game in the WCBL. Bye-bye, Moose. Fort McMurray at Medicine Hat. So the big story, however, is the Stanley Cup Playoffs and open line here. Trying to get to as many comments from our viewers as we can today. It's always a lot of fun when we do that. At least I enjoy it. Tony in Cochrane, Alberta writes in. Hey, welcome back, Moose. Tony in Cochrane writes in and says, happy birthday, Rod Squad. It's our 5-year birthday today. I feel like I'm going to celebrate with a blizzard. You're right, Rod. As a Flames fan and loyal member of ABE, anybody but Edmonton, I am rooting for your Panthers and former Flames, Kachuk Bennett, and son of Paul Reinhart, Sam. I hope they get their first cup. Go Panthers. Darcy in Grand Prairie, Alberta, writes in. He says, I bet on the Oilers to win the cup at the beginning of the year. 8-1 odds. I never win. In 7. Also, the Jays need to sign Trevor Bauer. Well, I talked to a Panthers person this morning, and they said, it's us against Canada. And I, again, bit my lip, Darren. That's my challenge from God right now. Bite your lip, Rod. I'm not totally sure I'm going to be successful all the time, but I bit my lip for now because I don't feel like it's the Panthers against all of Canada. But maybe it's good for them to believe that. Maybe that's the chip on the shoulder they need. I don't know. How do you look at that?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely look at it as it's a USA versus Canada Stanley Cup final because it is. It's an American team versus a Canadian team. And I'm in favor of whatever draws a storyline that's going to get you interested in the game. To that effect, I was going to say I really, really hate the anybody but Edmonton, anybody but Toronto, anybody but Vancouver, because all you're doing is rooting for teams to lose. And that's not a fun way to enjoy sports. But take my own advice. Whatever draws you into the game and gets you interested and gives you a reason to watch and enjoy it, hey, that works, right? If Florida winning is going to make you happy, and then great. So enjoy the games however you want to enjoy the games.
Not to go all philosophical here, but let me go philosophical. Cheering for someone else's success doesn't diminish your own. And cheering for somebody else to lose might bring that back on you. I'm just putting it out there. With the CFL news today, two huge items, breaking news today. Jonas Brothers being named the halftime act for Grey Cup in Vancouver in November. And Saturday's game, Sask at Edmonton, has been officially moved from 5 p.m. local to 2 p.m. so as to avoid Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. And I will be perfectly honest in this. Some will get offended. I don't care. That's their problem. We talked about the rider cult, the green goggles, all of that. It is a thing, whether you want to believe it or not, it is. And you and I know that. And I think the people that are in it, most actually know that, but they're okay with being in it. And that's fine. I just don't belong to it anymore. But when I was in Saskatchewan forever, I often thought, why are we moving this season to avoid the Stanley Cup? Why would we move games to avoid it? Then you get outside and realize, oh, there's a big old world outside this forest that I'm in. This green forest that I don't see outside of. You know, and it's fine. Some people don't want to leave the forest or look outside the forest. That's totally fine. But there is. And now I know for years that conversation of we don't want to go up against the Stanley Cup Finals. Or in the fall, we don't want to go up against the NFL on Sundays. But when you're in Saskatchewan, the Alabama of Canada, football-wise, you don't see anything else. You don't see why would we want to. And you still hear it all the time. Why are we avoiding Sundays in the fall? Go back to bed, grasshopper. On that CFL note, Rob Swallow writes in and writes, on the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for them by name at your local beer, wine, and spirit store. Rob says, congrats on 5 years to the RP show team. The BC Lions, 50,000 tickets sold, could soon be challenging Winnipeg for flagship franchise status in the Canadian Football League. Makes a lot of dollars and cents for the Elks Rider game to be moved for both TSN and the CFL. And he says the Oilers are in tough against the Panthers. 10 shots against Dallas. Could we see a 5-shot game against Florida? Lunch soon, brother, says Rob Swallow. There's a lot to unpack there. Number one, you ain't even going to challenge Winnipeg for flagship status until you win a Grey Cup. So stop. If you look at the outrights, Darren, for the last outrights before the season kicks off at North Star Bets, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are still the odds-on favorite to win the Grey Cup. Just going to leave that there. I get what you're saying, but I mean, Winnipeg can't sell more than 33,500 tickets because that's all their stadium holds. You still got to win to be in that conversation of flagship, deal or no deal.
Yeah, or at least be competitive and be in that conversation all the time, continuously, because it's a combination of success on the field and success off the field. And they both can, have to do with a large number of different things. But success on the field is a huge part of being a flagship franchise in the CFL and any league.
Hey, again, not close-minded here, believe it or not. Like the Dallas Cowboys, we haven't won anything in a generation, and we're still the flagship franchise of the NFL. So I get that, but I just think in the CFL, it would help to win. But the
Cowboys are always in that Super Bowl conversation, right? Star players.
Yeah.
They're not sitting there way out of the playoffs or, in the basement of the league. Not saying that's where you got to at least be competitive, be in the mix, be considered as a contender for a championship and all the rest.
From Rod Monroe, he writes in, he's the father of producer Clark. He says, good morning, Rod. Congratulations to you and the team on 5 years. Well done, my friend. Well, producer Clark is a massive part of what we do here. Huge pillar of what we do. And Rod knows that. but I'm just passing it along. Today, we've hit 5 years on the air with the RP show. Big thanks to Game Plus Television, WQBE Radio. As I said to Darren earlier, 5 years now in this volatile sports media industry is like 25 years back in the day. It's dog years with the way people are getting thrown overboard. Paul in Humboldt, regarding the owners, he says, owners that set the expectations, provide the resources, let people do their jobs. I would work for that owner too. If he's talking about Vinny by Viola, I'm not specifically sure who he's referring to, the owner of the Florida Panthers. I don't know. Jeff Gordon in Yorkton says, when we talked about owners, he goes, except for the Dallas Cowboys owner, I don't really care for him. You and me both, brother, and I'm a Cowboys fan. John Ohm says, need to write an owner stories book, Rod. Nah. I don't think so. Karen writes in, Karen, you're in California, are you not? She says, hard to believe that 2024 is already half gone, but I've been subscribed to your show for 5 years. Happy birthday, sir. Whoop, whoop. We really should be passing along the kudos to the audience, because I can guarantee they wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here if not for them, and obviously the sponsors too. Jeff the Stamps fans dropped in to troll poison and hate towards the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm not even reading it. But I mean, literally, the iconic owners, that Amazon Prime streaming documentary on the Lakers winning time, which, by the way, I think there's a new season out. I haven't watched it, but about the Lakers, Showtime Lakers in the 80s, Jerry Buss. Yeah. Is that not fascinating as hell? I mean, not every owner, trust me, is as flashy and showboaty as Jerry Buss. Thank God. But kind of tells you how to win, doesn't it? With what he did. That was such a fantastic documentary, winning time on the Lakers, just to show the inner world. Jerry Buss had his finger on everything. And the thing is, all owners really do. They do. Right? Yeah. They need to do a net. Yeah. Go. Sorry.
Well, no, don't lose that thought. They need to do a Netflix documentary, because I want to hear that. But you're right. You know, it may seem like they just like swoop in and out here and there, but that's just to kind of make sure everybody's doing their thing and letting good people do their jobs and making sure that you're controlling where you want to be and what you want to be doing. And, you know, the good owners will do that.
They need to have a Netflix documentary on Stan Kroenke, the owner of the Rams, the LA Rams, the Colorado Avalanche, Colorado Mammoth, some soccer team, because, you know, I'm not a soccer guy. He's won championships in every league. Like, what the hell? It's hard enough. Some guys can't figure out how to win one. He's won one in every league. What's he doing well? You know, Rod, that's not a road you want to go down. You and I both know that. Bob in Saskatoon writes in, and he says, look to the Utah hockey team for an owner that wants to make a splash. Young and ambitious. Yeah, for sure. And I noticed where I read up on this Ryan Smith in Utah and where he made his money in the tech world, which is fantastic. Seems like a great guy. He hasn't even been the owner for one game, so let's chill for a second on how great he is. But it's a very interesting lesson there, too. My friend Emily Kaplan from ESPN wrote an expose on the Ryan Smith story. He had all the money. He owns the Jazz and he owns the arena, right, in Salt Lake City. And he met with Gary Bettman in January and said, we're ready to go. We got the money, we got the rink, we're ready to go whenever you're ready. That was in January. According to Emily Kaplan's article, which I believe is no reason to believe it's not true. And then when the land deal blew up the last time and they said, we're now going to go to an auction, but Gary's like, I've had enough. Whatever that was, like the 1st of March or whatever. Gary went back to Ryan Smith and called him and goes, were you serious about you ready? He's like, yes, I was. We're done. News conference Monday. That's what happened. It's like the dating world, right? I'm around. If you're ever interested and free, I'm around. Sometimes you got to wait a long time. And then the call comes. Be patient. It's a virtue. Okay, anything else before we let you go? Zig Fracassi coming in next.
Yeah, no, I think that's it, man. We say hi to Zig because I know he's probably logged in, and you have a great rest of your day.
You're going to be thinking about that, aren't you? To those young ball players, hey guys, come listen to me. Sometimes you just got to plant the seed. I'm around. You got my number. That's what Ryan Smith said to Gary Bettman, and he ended up with an NHL team. There's a fantastic ownership story right there. Yeah, I'll get to the rest of these messages later. Thanks, Moose. Have a great Toronto day, and happy birthday. Go celebrate it with however you do, but I would suggest a blizzard.
Works for me.
Okay, Zig Fracassi. SiriusXM NFL Radio coming in next on a special day, our 5th anniversary. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio in Atlanta, home of the Dirty Birds. Hashtag Rise Up. YouTube Live, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues, everybody. And, hey, don't forget the Saskatchewan Rattlers pro basketball team heating up this season, led by former NBA Toronto Raptor Jalen Harris with talent and coaching staff from the LA Clippers. Be sure to get your tickets now and do not miss the action at SaskTel Center. I go to every game. Visit Ticketmaster or head on down to the Rattlers front office in downtown Saskatoon. Let's bring in Zig Fracassi now, SiriusXM NFL Radio. Hey, Ziggy. It's the Oilers and the Panthers in the Stanley Cup final. Your thoughts, sir?
Rod, great to be with you. And by the way, congrats on the 5 years. It's been a privilege to be part of the show and, more importantly, as your friend. I guess from the Florida standpoint, I'm not surprised simply because I think they're the best team in the East. They showed that throughout, that withering, style that they play, the forecheck. It's akin to the full court press in basketball or a blitz on every down in football. A lot of teams can't handle that, so they're deserving. And Edmonton, I think I've made my comments known about them being the serial lottery abusers. But hey, in the end, they got the job done. Skinner stolen that game last night because I thought Dallas thoroughly outplayed them. But the special teams were the difference. Edmonton getting their goals that way and preventing Dallas when they had the man advantage. So I think when it's all said and done, it should be a pretty good Stanley Cup final. And if you got your frequent flyer miles, you're going to be getting those over the next 2 weeks.
Largest distance in games, you're right, in Stanley Cup playoff history. Two furthest apart locales, however you want to say it. Zig, I'm not sure I ever told you, but we do air on the radio in Atlanta daily, WQEE 99.1 FM. We're Atlanta's NHL show, but it's a tremendous NFL town. And it's not like I haven't talked about Kirk Cousins a million times and Michael Penix, but and probably you too, but I haven't talked to you about it. How do you expect the Falcons quarterback situation to unfold and play out in 2024?
Well, let's hope, first of all, Rod, that Cousins is healthy. I mean, he is still coming back from that torn Achilles, so all the indications appear that he's going to be okay. So, but let's make it clear. Penix is there to push him, and he's going to be the starter at some point. Now, one thing we got to watch for this week, the ESPN report came out yesterday. We were talking about this on NFL radio, is that a ruling is coming probably this week, potentially with tampering charges involving the Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles. In Philadelphia's case, with Saquon Barkley, because apparently in that instance, Barkley's former Penn State coach, Franklin, had a chat with Howie Roseman, the Eagles GM, which is apparently against the rules because this was before free agency. In Atlanta's case, Cousins had made comments at his press conference about talking with trainers and other people before he officially signed. So, Rod, we could be looking at significant sanctions against the Atlanta Falcons, which leads to the point then, if the league winds up taking away draft picks, including a first-round pick, maybe that makes more sense as to why they selected Penix in the first round instead of going for a defensive end, per se, in this year's draft.
Are you of the mind, though? Let's just assume, whatever, draft picks is a big deal, but for this year's team, do you think all they were missing was a quarterback and that this will make them part of the conversation in that division, or are they nowhere in the ballpark?
No, they're right there. I think with their skill set and, the new coach and everything like that, I think they definitely are one of the favorites in the NFC South. My point is, if they were going to lose, say, a 2025 first-round pick, then why not grab the quarterback now? And, yeah, you still need defensive help, but you could get that, which they did through the draft. And let's not forget, Rod, we're chatting early June here. You may see some further cuts coming now from the teams around the National Football League. So the Falcons could conceivably get a veteran should he become available. That's what I'm saying here. I think that's why they wanted to jump the gun a little bit and draft Penix in the first round this year.
Trent in Norway says, question for Zig, can the Vikings spend their way to the top this year?
Well, they did today. Justin Jefferson, 4-year deal, $140 million. I think over $110 million guaranteed. which makes him, I think, the highest non-quarterback paid, highest at his position. So it's clear that they think this kid is a true game breaker. Now, who gets him the ball this year, Rod, remains to be seen, because as we sit right now in early June, it's Sam Darnold. Remember, the former 3rd overall pick by the Jets, although they did draft J.J. McCarthy. So it's going to be interesting to see they are an interesting team. I'm not sure they're at the crossroads, but you got to wonder when the J.J. McCarthy era starts to Minnesota, but he'll have a outstanding target to work with Justin Jefferson.
Well, you're on NFL radio. You've been around the teams. The very first thing I thought when they drafted J.J. McCarthy is, what are they going to do with the nicknames? I would think Justin Jefferson's J.J. 1 and the quarterback's J.J. 2, but I don't know. That's the kind of confusion that goes on with a team, right?
Yeah. We'll call him J.J. 1 and 1A. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. Depends who's playing better. We know who's being paid more. BW in Edmonton has a question that I didn't even know this was a thing. He goes, Zig, any real chance of the Kansas City Chiefs moving? They got no money for a new stadium in KC. What's the murmurs on that?
Well, there's been some buzz. I think this Dallas, the mayor of Dallas, wanted to consider them. How about this, Rod? Moving back to where they were born back in 1960, because they were the Dallas Texans originally, and that they apparently were trying to lure them, but they're going to stay in Kansas. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Now, whether they wind up doing a complete remodel of Arrowhead Stadium remains to be seen. Are they going to still be in tandem with the Royals like they have been with that Truman Sports Complex the last 50 years? I think there's a lot to be done there. So it'll be interesting to see how much, Missouri lawmakers chip in, Kansas City themselves, how much they get in. But I don't think there's any chance that the Chiefs ultimately move out of Kansas City. They're just too entrenched.
My gosh, this goes so fast, but I got to ask you about the Dolphins. I see all the money they're spending on offensive players. Tua, Tyreek, Waddle extended. I don't see them investing a lot on defense. We were discussing this last week. Are they ahead of the curve? That the priority in the NFL is offense now with the restrictions put on defensive play and the tackling? Like, how do you feel about where they're spending their money with the Finns?
Well, I think anymore, Rod, you're looking at the NFL is a changing game in terms of the offense. Instead of it being run now, our former Vikings GM Rick Spielman, who's a colleague of ours on NFL radio, made the point the other day. A lot of teams are using 11 personnel, one back, one tight end, and you spread out the field with 3 wides. Hence, more emphasis now is going to be put on the receiving game. And if you've already got an A guy like Tyreek Hill in Miami, you want to keep your 1A guy. Hence, they got Jalen Waddle in on the extension, which actually, Rod, is an extension on his current rookie deal. So the big money's not going to really kick in now for another couple of years. So that's where the emphasis is going. Defensively, they had a couple big losses, obviously, Wilkins being the biggest. Van Ginkel was another one that came to mind, but I think they're going to be okay. They had Poyer from Buffalo, who I think is going to add some veteran savvy to that mix. Gallimore, late of the Cowboys, is more of a depth guy, but it'll be interesting to see what ultimately happens there with the Miami Dolphins. I still think they're maybe looking up a little bit, even though the Bills have had a lot of transition. Buffalo probably still the team to beat in the AFC East.
What an interesting division, and we haven't even talked about Aaron Rodgers, and we'll save that for another day. Zig, I'm so glad you were part of this big show today. Yeah, what do you got? What do you got?
We got to remember Larry Allen, bro. He passed today. Yeah.
Icon.
Great.
Absolute
the great
icon.
Cowboys. Yeah, the great Cowboys offensive lineman, Rod, apparently passed away on a family vacation in Mexico. 52 years old, 11-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first-teamer, Super Bowl champ. Still have that visual, Rod, his rookie year, chasing down Darian Connor of the Saints on that Aikman interception. maybe the most physically dominant lineman I have ever seen. So rest in peace, Larry Allen.
Yeah, that's a really sad story, and I appreciate you bringing that up amongst us Cowboys fans. All right, Zig, enjoy the sports, man. Chat soon.
Here's another 5 years, Rod, and save that money for my Grey Cup trip, all right?
Bingo!
All right, my friend. Sounds good. We'll be watching the Jonas Brothers at Grey Cup in Vancouver. Great place to go to watch a Grey Cup. We'll be right back with Overtime after this. We're live on Game Plus Television from the Golden Ticket Sports Center. And obviously on the radio, WQEE, and Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Overtime is brought to you by our good friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. They've got a lot of exciting new promos on the go, and they've just announced, and it's time for you to check that out for your kids, grandkids, so forth. $99 monthly memberships, unlimited lane time for the summer, plus summer kids camps. You love hockey out there in Alberta, so why not get your kids down there at Overtime Hockey Lanes? By the way, I'm an adult, and I love Overtime Hockey Lanes, so yeah, check them out. Give us a shot, 28th Street Northeast, where skill and fun collide. Overtime Hockey Lanes, Calgary. A sports update. That's what we love about daytime sports, by the way. There's so much going on in sports now. The Jonas Brothers will be the halftime entertainment at the 2024 Grey Cup game in Vancouver. The CFL and BC Lions made the joint announcement today. The pop rock band, consisting of brothers Kevin, Joe, and Nick Jonas, will make their second appearance in Vancouver in roughly a year. The brothers performed in the city November of 2023 during their tour in support of the album. Meanwhile, the CFL has moved the Edmonton Elks season opening game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders to an afternoon start to allow sports fans in Edmonton to also watch the Oilers in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup. The game originally was scheduled for 5 p.m. It'll now kick off at 2 p.m. local. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup. Final goes 6 p.m. Mountain in Sunrise on Saturday night. As Zig Fracassi just mentioned, Larry Allen, one of the most dominant offensive linemen in the NFL during a 12-year career, spent mostly with the Dallas Cowboys, has died. He was 52. The Cowboys say Allen died suddenly on Sunday while on vacation with his family in Mexico. Allen was named an All-Pro 6 consecutive years from 1996 to 2001 and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2013. So that's a tough day for us Cowboys fans. Sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. Now playing at Landmark Cinemas, the movie If, from writer and director John Krasinski. If is about a girl who discovers that she can see everyone's imaginary friends and what she does with that superpower as she embarks on a magical adventure to reconnect forgotten ifs with their kids. Starring Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski, Kaylee Fleming, Fiona Shaw, and the voices of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Louis Gossett Jr., and Steve Carell. If in Landmark Cinemas now. And for our friends at Common Crown Brewing Company in Calgary, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience, visit commoncrown.ca. Tonight might be a wonderful night to go to the movies because the Blue Jays are playing, but that's about it on your television. No Stanley Cup Playoffs, no NBA. The finals begin Thursday. Dallas, Boston. And in our league, the Western Canadian Baseball League, Fort McMurray at Medicine Hat. I loved the comment that came in from our guy Nelson earlier, our VP of Sim Events, that says the WCBL has a real Shoresy Letterkenny vibe. Oh, brother, you said it way better than I could have. I'm spending the summer in that league broadcasting for these Moose Jaw Miller Express, and we had Meet the Millers night last night. Come on down to the nightclub and meet the ball club. What could go wrong? Nothing did, by the way, but it was just so much fun. But I felt like I was in a scene of Shoresy. And I got a favorite player, Bobby Biceps Picorni. Turns out he's from Margate, Florida, which is right next door to Boca Raton. He knocked home the winning run in the bottom of the 11th inning the other night. He was the hero. Bobby Picorni showed up fashionably late to meet the Millers night last night. He was asked about my call of his game-winning RBI. He goes, "Love the call." He's the Joe Namath of minor league baseball, Bobby Biceps. Regarding the Memorial Cup format, that came up here because we are in the heartland of junior hockey right here, and these Moose Jaw Warriors were just in the Memorial Cup and got bounced by the host team Friday night. So clearly there's a lot of people that have a problem with the format of the Memorial Cup. And then Saginaw went on to win it, upsetting London in the final Sunday. Steve from Moose Jaw writes in, and he says, "Good morning, Rod. Congrats on 5 years." Yeah, today is the 5-year birthday of our program here. He says, "Anyone who thinks Saginaw did not deserve to win as host is not in tune with junior hockey. They finished," whoops, where'd it go? He goes, "They finished 2 points behind London. Both had 50 wins in the regular season and lost in the West Final in 6 to the Knights. Well-deserved. They beat them when it counted. Congrats, Spirit. Love the format." I do, too. But you know, Steve, that's just sour grapes, and your perspective on this is rare. Brian in Hudson's Bay says, I'm a Rough Rider supporter and said 3 days ago that if the Oilers are playing Saturday night, the game time should be changed. I'm just fine with that. It was the smart thing to do. And I think most Rider fans are okay with it too. Congrats on 5 years. Were they going to the game or not? Does it really affect your life? I'm talking, for the people going to the game, that might affect things, the workers and so forth. Let's think of them. But almost a week out, obviously, there's more than enough lead time, and hopefully everybody's happy. Thanks to Alan May. Thanks to Zig Fracassi. Thanks to all the well-wishers on a very big day today, our 5-year birthday. Season 6 began today. We'll do it all again tomorrow on Game Plus TV and Key Radio right here.
Who has more fun than us?